138. I'm Unbiased Dan, and I'm here with Genesis and Ray.
Unbiased Dan.
How's it going, guys?
Unbiased Dan.
What?
Somebody's sick, so we went months without doing pods because a bunch of people were sick. So this time we're just like, screw it,
Let's do it.
do a sick podcast.
It is what it is.
I don't think it's contagious through the YouTube.
No.
She was straining though to get that Anix Gamecast level 138.
130.
Please hang out with us.
Oh Lord.
Y'all should subscribe, like, and follow.
All
Make
right.
a comment.
If you like what you hear today,
Okay, stop making me laugh because I'm making me cough. All right. What's up, guys? What are y'all excited to talk about today?
Right.
this has got to be what I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time right now, and that's why Fake Tana sounds like she charges me by the hour.
30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes?
Yeah.
God, she's expensive.
So what is that?
Hookers R Us. I don't know. Where do you want me to go with this, man?
No. What are you excited to talk about?
So it's not Hookers R Us. Okay. No, Blue Beetle. I've been waiting to talk about this since it came out. Haven't done it on our show, and this is the first opportunity I get to really.
Okay.
I can't believe you haven't done it on your show.
We again life.
Yeah.
Life. Almost the same situation here where it was just everyone was sick, but we finally said screw it too.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I'm excited to talk about Blue Beetle as well.
Good. I'm interested to see your take.
Okay.
Both of y'all's take.
All right.
I'm excited.
What you got?
I'm gonna stick with my Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So you can see what's on the screen. We got some new graphics on old graphics. Real fans of the show have seen this before on a different show. But anyway, like, follow, subscribe. The new thing on YouTube is actually comment. So just comment.
You can't say it like that.
What?
You gotta go with the flow of the show. I want you guys to like,
Oh, yeah.
follow, and subscribe.
You gotta sound like Master Roshi.
Yeah.
Let's get into round one.
Go.
Round one.
Round one,
Part 2.
part 2, in the anime that we are currently watching. It's already on the screen because we had some major technical issues. Major. It's like a whole microphone wasn't working.
We are professional here.
So
We got a little discombobulated, but we're back.
we are back. This is just. I mean, I guess when it's been years since you pod. I mean,
Maybe the technology caught like a cold.
Maybe
or
I
something.
might be spreading things.
So maybe you lied about that.
He's
to the
also
mic.
tired though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Are you tired?
Yeah,
Why are you tired?
I don't know.
Because you were reviewing this?
Reviewing Sailor Moon Crystal.
Yeah. Is that why you're tired?
A little bit.
Why? Does it like the first one? The one back in the 90s?
No, it's nothing like the one in the 90s.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Okay.
Okay, so dang, I feel like I just said this 2 minutes ago.
Deja vu.
So anyway,
Creepy Back to the Future.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So Sailor Moon Crystal is not a continuation of Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon Crystal came out around the same time Dragon Ball Super did. And Super is a continuation. Crystal was a remake of the original series.
How many years are we talking?
Years from
The original to this remake that you're
in
apparently
the
struggling
States. In the States?
with. In the States.
I don't 17, 18,
I was gonna guess 20.
20 years, something like that. Yeah. So the main problem I had with this is, if I'm not mistaken, it was more closely based to the manga. It's not just a remake of the original series. So it's more from the manga. So that means people look different, people act different, people sound different, because I think they have different voice actors on this. And some people even have different names.
Oh, weird.
Right.
But it sounds like it's truer to the original source material. Is that what you're saying?
Sure. Yeah. Like, you say that as if it's a good thing.
Okay. You know what? Fair enough. That not every time does an adaptation that, stays closer to the source come out as good.
But do you not like it because you just don't like it, or do you not like it because it's so different than what you've already seen?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's it's a bit of a slower pace.
Mm-mm.
It's a slower pace, and like I said, the things that people are doing that are different, it's like I don't care for. So it's not just, oh, it's different, so I don't like it, but it's just like the pace at which things are happening and what people are doing and why they're doing it. It's just like this is not quality to me.
Yeah.
Like it and so I will say, if I watched, I don't know, 5 episodes, if it weren't for the nostalgic references from the beginning, because there are some things that are the same, I would have stopped watching probably after 2 episodes.
Yeah.
You got enough in you to finish watching the series? or?
Not 3-4 seasons plus movies. No.
Wow.
No.
That's a lot.
So this is the last time we're talking about Sailor Moon Crystal.
Maybe. I don't know, because she might like it. I don't know.
No, that's true.
I didn't really watch the first one.
But I mean, you didn't watch anime.
That's true.
That's not saying nothing.
That's true.
So anyway, how about this? Comment down below if you're watching this. If you've seen Crystal, if you've seen the original, if you get what I'm saying, if you get where I'm coming from, put it down in the comment section below. How about that?
Can you
Yeah.
feel me?
You feel me?
You feel me?
All right. What's next? Dragon Ball Z.
Me.
I love that we're always doing this, it feels like, on every episode, because that's just how damn long the series is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's long.
This could go on for the entirety. We
Of-
could be doing
of
this
A-
for 40 years. This
Of
thing's still going to be
ANX
talking about.
Gamecast, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think we've expedited the process a little bit.
Yeah.
Because before, like, it literally was like 3 episode chunks, and then we'll come in pod, but now it's like, no, we can't keep doing that.
Well, yeah.
Because we'll never get through it.
We'll never get through it, and it just to me wasn't very good. But now, like I've said, and I'm kind of repeating myself, but it it has gotten good, and it's still going strong. I'll say that. It wasn't like just a temporary, thing. So I think what's happening now, at least I won't go over every single detail, but I think I'm ending the Android saga, and I think I'm getting into the Cell saga.
Cell. Since since we met him, and now you wanna watch his TV show.
I know it's so funny now when I hear his voice too. It's so like a bug or something. I mean, like a
I was gonna go with like a Barry White, like hello, but no, we're going the opposite end. We're going Michael. We're going hee.
it's like a reptile. I don't know.
Yeah, like a reptile.
So his voice is all
insect.
like,
Yeah.
and it's funny because we've met him, and now I'm trying to picture him doing this. It's like such a weird voice.
But he also did it
Long time ago.
20 years ago. So
Yeah.
20 plus years ago.
So I'll just say that I'm at the point now where there's some real crazy stuff going on, but Cell has arrived. I don't know much about Cell. I just recognize him, I think, from probably pop figures or something. I don't know. And it's still good. Like just something like a corner. We turned a corner, and it's been staying good. So
It's not too much within sci-fi genre, generally speaking. We start getting into time travel where it's just completely bad. You can disagree with how the time travel and the science behind it, but generally speaking, when you start getting characters from the future who have aged and come back and talking
Yeah.
to people, like, it's still cool to see.
yeah.
It's really hard to just make it bad. Like, it's just super, super, super bad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
So
right. I was reading an article today. They sent some particles back a few seconds in time.
really,
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
it was an interesting read. I won't get into it because we're not talking about that. But you said time travel. I thought, what the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much this whole the last Trunk, you got Trunk Saga, got Android Saga, got Cell Saga, all has to do with some sort of time travel.
Yeah.
In there. So
And it's just it's kind of interesting to me. I'm interested to see what is happening here. Some of it's been explained because there's been a lot of buildup because they're finding weird stuff, and it's like, wait, how did that get here? Like somebody else it's like back in the future when Marty goes back, part 2, when Marty goes back, and then Biff ends up crawling in his car, and
Yep.
Biff goes back, and then you're like, wait a minute, there's multiple things happening here. There's multiple people traveling. And it's like screwing stuff up. So
Where I first learned about the multiverse.
right, exactly.
I don't know what y'all are talking
Yeah.
about.
So
Watch it.
Okay. So now we're at a part where Piccolo is the strongest character in the show. I laugh just because it's just laughable.
Yeah.
So I think I asked you this a few episodes ago. Is Piccolo still your favorite character right now?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I love Mr. Popo.
He don't count.
Oh man.
He don't count. He don't count. He not doing nothing.
I think for
He
now.
just sweeps up the. He don't.
I don't care. I'll do it again with the voice.
Come here. Oh, come here. I can't do it, but I guess so. I think Krillin, he's probably not gonna stay my favorite, but he's my favorite right now.
Krillin.
I mean, Piccolo. Why do I don't know why I do that.
I don't know.
Constantly I get Piccolo and Krillin mixed up.
I think this is probably the time where Vegeta became my favorite character. Just all the stuff one-on-one with the androids, all the trash talking and the shit talking, and like this is and this is the character kind of that he stays in for pretty much the rest of the show, right?
Yeah.
This is more similar to the guy that you see that you saw in Super.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the part where Vegeta probably became my favorite character.
I feel like because I really liked Vegeta in the movies, you know, and he's just so grumpy and like so I don't feel super strong about Krillin. Piccolo, I don't feel.
How about we just go ahead and just say it? Krillin is her favorite character.
No,
I think so.
he's not.
Anytime we talk about these side characters,
She does bring him up a lot.
Krillin is the one that comes up.
Hey, Yogo.
With that said,
There you go.
anything else you want to bring up about what you've seen? Anything?
No, I wish Goku would go ahead and wake up though. That'd be great.
Oh, so you saying Goku's late to the fight again?
Yeah.
And in yet another saga?
Doesn't that kind of...
But he's probably gonna come save the day, like I said 15 episodes ago.
He's gonna save the day?
Probably.
Okay. And
I got nothing on it.
And I keep saying he's generally speaking, he's never saved the day. But
I know, but I just have a feeling on this time.
okay. All right, so let's get to the next show. Godzilla.
Gojira.
Jiro.
So who's this is Ray's.
Is it?
And I see some anime people, but then the Godzilla itself looks 3D-ish. Was it like that in the show?
It's a mix. It's a 3D animated mix.
Okay.
They do it really well. It's done really well. Now, is this going to be like what everyone flocks to watch like it is, you know, a traditional anime? No, probably not. But I loved this series and I'm rewatching it now. I watched it when it first came out, but I've forgotten how good it was.
Is it long?
I mean, you know, for an anime, yeah, right? Because it's in a movie format, so it's not show format, but they do have 3. The first one, Planet of Monsters, is basically what it was, and it kind of shows the beginning of what actually drove the humans off Earth. You know, it was either deal with Godzilla and all his destructiveness, or you know, stay and go and flee and try to find, you know, another way to live. And then it's about their return. So for me, you know, it's really strong. I like it. You know, I'm taking this in pieces this time, right? So when I first watched it the very first time, kind of sped ran through it. But the second time, I'm going back, I'm looking for all the little details and finding a lot of stuff that's in there. And
Is this all Godzilla and human interaction, or are there other big monsters?
this is about Godzilla right now. But you get later in the series, because there's, you know, 3 parts to this. Well, it's a trilogy. You know, that's what it is. It's a trilogy, hour and a half each one. They kind of go into it, but this first one is about the leave and the return to the planet, and to see how it's changed with Godzilla kind of having control over everything.
So just based off the image on the screen, the art style of the anime characters, like I would, if I didn't know it was Godzilla, I would check it out. If I watch the trailer and it shows me a bunch of 3D, I'm probably going to be like, ah. And then once the name Godzilla comes up, I'm definitely going to be like, ah, no thanks.
in previous movies and previous versions, whether it's well, maybe not the earlier Toho renditions, or
you
even
call me?
you heard what I said. You heard me. But in even the American version or legendary movieverse, monsterverse is what you're gonna call it. He's always kind of played up as a hero. There's no real mistaking that he's a threat in this. There's none of the, well, he did good for this, and that. No, he's destructive. He's what he is. He's gonna cause mass chaos wherever he walks.
Mhm.
So I mean, they really kind of play into that here, especially with one of the main protagonists is hatred for this creature.
Yeah.
So you see that really kind of play out. For sure, you start seeing it in this first one, and then as you start going through the entire series, it kind of plays into that. But again, I enjoyed it the first time. I'm enjoying it the second time. So
Where
Pretty
did
stoked.
Godzilla come from?
you
Do
know
they
what?
talk about origin?
Yeah, watch this one. It's a little bit different than what's
Uh-huh.
come before. Always the best version of it to me was the original, dealing with the bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This was kind of,
Like a radioactive something.
well, more importantly, it was how they felt they were dealing with the aftermath of the actual bombs.
Yeah.
And so whenever that's brought into play, whether it's Shin Godzilla, which is a fantastic movie, and they're dealing with, the consequences of what humans have done to create this creature, those are always the strongest interpretations.
What are you watching this on?
No, it's Netflix.
Netflix. Okay.
All right.
So there you go.
Sounds good. So I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I don't like Godzilla.
All right.
Would you recommend this to me?
I would recommend this one to you.
I like
because
anime, but I don't like Godzilla.
I would recommend it to you because there's not much Godzilla in Godzilla. This is about,
It's like it's just Zilla.
well, more importantly, this first part of the trilogy is pertaining to how humanity has dealt with the repercussions of Godzilla. So they're showing a lot more of that. There's a lot more story between the characters than it is. It revolves around Godzilla, of course, but you start kind of learning through each character's background. That forms the better part of the story. You get into 2 and 3. That's probably where you personally would end up falling out because it becomes a little
That's
bit
why I'm
more.
gonna install it, because then it's not just Zilla, it's Godzilla.
Yeah, especially within the third one, it's definitely emphasis on God.
Mm.
So,
Spoiler alert!
spoiler alert. There you go.
Spoiler alert.
All right, y'all ready for?
Oh, I got it. How much was that?
How much was it?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Big Tana. I told you, man.
Oh,
She's charging you.
She charged me by
that
the
time
hour.
she was talking to everybody. She was
Okay.
talking to everybody else.
All right, so it's split 3-way.
Raymond.
That's talking to you.
Damn it.
Raymond.
It's just piling up now.
Stop it.
Y'all ready for round 2?
Yeah.
Round 2.
Quote man.
Here we go. You ready?
I'm gonna change your thing to say
All right, there.
quote man.
Quote man. All right. Like maybe there's 1 or 2 black superheroes mixed in there with mostly white. I don't know how I'd grow up and not have a chip on my shoulder.
So
Eminem.
Quote by Eminem on they call it a skit, but that's just a technical term. It was a interlude. It was something on Royce da 5'9's album called the Allegory. Apparently, so Eminem and Royce da 5'9 have been knowing each other for a long time. Obviously, as you can see, one is white and one is black. Apparently, they have these types of conversations all the time about race with each other. And Royce thought it was be a good message or appropriate to record one of their conversations and put it out there. This particular quote has something to do with superheroes, so I thought it was appropriate for this particular conversation about representation, especially because we are about to review.
A movie that was strong in representation.
Okay, strong representation, Beetle, right? So who wants to take the crack at it?
Well, I'll start off.
You need to go ahead and get yours in because you.
So, okay.
I like my superheroes to sound raspy. No, go ahead.
Yeah. I
She's Batman.
am Batman. So, as far as representation, that's not something that I have ever had to worry about or think about, right? And I never even noticed. I had lots of friends growing up of mixed races. It wasn't that I wasn't exposed to other people, but I didn't notice until Genesis and I got together and we started talking about old movies and whatever. And I would show them old movies, and I didn't even notice. Like, wait a minute, everybody that has a speaking part is white, and most of the people in this shot are white. Even if there's somebody that is in the shot that's, you know, Black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, they're not talking. They're literally just sitting there.
Or they're doing something stereotypical.
Right. Or yeah, something stereotypical. So forever and ever, like, I didn't really understand representation until, you know, I don't know, several years ago, I guess. I can't remember, but people started kind of bringing it up, like, for multiple reasons. It's not about race. There's multiple reasons. Children that are handicapped, they want to see themselves in Target ads. You know what I mean? Because it's like, look, that little girl looks like me in a wheelchair or whatever. Whether even if you're a little heavier, like, people don't want to see models that are like stick figures. You know, you want to see a little bit of everybody. You know, there's the whole, you know, representing gay people, you know, not just the standard husband and wife. Anyway, but then it gets into race, of course, too. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is I really don't have a lot to say on it, although because I didn't have to like deal with not being represented, but I 100% understand when people say it means a lot to see someone like me in this movie or as the superhero or whatever. Like, I'm all for it. So, you know, because I do see where people could possibly feel left out. I guess that's what I'll start with.
You think that developed with age and wisdom, where you started to see that change in yourself, not just because of relationships,
Yeah.
but just because, again, you start noticing those things.
Mm-hmm.
I know you want me to go first. I'm gonna look at you to go first because I know we're gonna butt heads like we always do.
I think he's gonna say something surprising.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have the hot take on this one.
All right.
So I think in 2023, representation is important, but only because it has been made to be an important topic. For example, when I grew up, right, I didn't see myself in the cartoons. I didn't see myself on the TV. I didn't see myself in the White House. But at one point did I ever sit there and think, man, I wish there was a black president because blah, blah, blah. I would like to do that one day. Or I wish there was some more black superheroes that didn't just fly around on the lid of trash cans. Detective Comics. Hey.
Every time, man. Every time.
Hey, where's the lie?
Shut up.
Okay. Right. I never sat there and like, man, I sure wish there was something to represent me on TV. I feel like what happened was there's a situation where there was a needed change, right? As far as equal rights. And I feel like this was just an easier pill to swallow for people who were opposed to putting more black faces, Asian, Hispanic faces on TV or whatever in a position to make money, make a living, right? So this was an easier pill to swallow. Hey, the kids need representation. At the end of the day, that opened up doors, you know, for more minority people to get more roles, speaking roles, all that. Great. But I think it was a little smoke and mirrors. I don't really think the original, I don't really think the people in the beginning cared if the little kids actually had representation or not.
Shit, I don't know what to say. I can't argue with them.
Really?
That's a first. Yeah, I think the origins of this and certainly what we see now is all based on money. It's based on how can we make money off of this group.
Or how can we make money too?
Yeah,
You think?
or I don't think that.
Oh.
I don't think that at all. I think because of the studio heads that are in power currently, anything with the media, I think it's become more about pushing the agenda as opposed to pushing the belief and the purpose.
No. See, this is where we're going to butt heads.
Well, that's good. That's good, though. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel like it's turned into. Now, I will tell you that it's going to sound so stupid. It's not something that we would normally talk about on this show. So I just got done watching Flamin' Hot, the story of the Cheetos hot, flaming thing.
Oh.
And he made a really good point. And the middle point of it was, he was like, you're not seeing this, market that you could tap into and make money off of, which is not a wrong thing to say, right? By any stretch of the imagination. But I think that became what we have today, where people do want to push, I feel, that part of the agenda of making more money where they couldn't before. And I feel like that's kind of where it's going, and some good's going to come out of it, some bad's going to come out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I feel like
that's where I'm
everything's
at.
about money at this point.
Well, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. I would say that the origins might have been more that I don't really subscribe to the whole where we're pushing an agenda type thing nowadays. No, like I said, nowadays in 2023, I will repeat, like, representation is important because you have so much representation. It used to just be all white, so everybody else was left out. So now you have a bunch of representation, and if you are not represented, it's almost like it's shining a bigger light on you. There's no one that looks like you on TV or acts like you in the movies, and so it's shining a bigger light. So now it's louder, not a louder voice, but more voices say, hey, what about me?
Yeah.
So it has become more important today than I think it was 20, 30 years ago.
So the last time we were talking, we had a round 2 that went like forever, kind of based around this.
Yeah.
And I really cannot give my full take on this without going into our round 3.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Well,
Like,
and we can expand on that maybe a little more. We get to. I just will say this: when this first came up, I think Genesis and I talked about it, because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine how that must have felt, growing up and you don't see you anywhere.
Which is the same thing Eminem is saying in this quote.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm very like empathetic to that. But, and I don't want to misquote you, but I feel like you were like, I didn't even notice.
Right. It's not anything I was focused on.
Like somebody had, it wasn't something, maybe not you, but maybe you didn't notice until it started becoming a big, like people were making it a bigger deal.
Well, it's not that I wasn't aware that there weren't any black people on TV. It's not that I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
It's just that wasn't my concern. I wasn't looking to have some sort of idol on TV or something, somebody to look up to. All of the cliche things that they say is important about representation. I just didn't need it. But I will say there was never once that I looked at myself as African American or biracial or multiracial, whatever the hell I am, right? I never looked at myself and was like, man, I wish I was something else so I could be on.
You just a cute Eminem almond flavor, my friend.
Yeah. I never once looked at myself and was like, oh man, I wish I was different so I could be in the White House.
Yeah.
I never said, I wish I was different so I can be on TV. Like I never thought
You
that.
didn't like sit around and feel sad about the fact that you weren't on TV.
No.
You were seeing yourself.
No.
Or
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have to agree with them. I never felt that way, I think probably until I got into my teens. And it was because that's when I first started really noticing racism more.
Mm-hmm.
But I still never sat there and looked at the TV and I was like, man, why are we not represented? Part of that reason, which I think my kids kind of attest to as well, was what I was watching. I was still kind of watching some old stuff. Even when I was growing up, watching, 66 Batman, right? Burt Ward and Adam West. That's, I was more of like, man, I can't wait to be Batman when I grew up kind of thing, and going even a step further when I started noticing early representation, which you cannot sit there and say that it, for the Latinos growing up, we had that with I Love Lucy. We really did. So when watching I Love Lucy, there was stuff that Ricky would do, right? And Babalu, that's right. And we would watch that, and whenever he was like, "Oh man, I'd love some arroz con pollo" and stuff like that, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about," And so my kids grew up on that too.
Yeah.
Right. And so they, of course, they had a Latin father, an Anglo mother, like they could relate to that, and that's still one of their favorite shows growing up. But they didn't think about that we really didn't notice even to today, because again, most of the comic book characters, it was about being or having that power. It wasn't about being that individual.
Yeah.
So even when you have a comic book hero, like let's say a Kyle Rayner, who was one of the Green Lanterns. Well, first off, it was kind of hard to even realize he was Hispanic or Latin of any type because his name was Kyle Rayner.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of a Latin name like that, but that's
Well,
the
you
character.
you ain't been all over Mexico, man.
100%.
You ain't been
100%.
all over Mexico.
We have a lot of Spain going through our bloodline, so I have blonde hair, blue eyed, 100% Spanish or Latino family members, right? So it never really dawned on me that anything that was come like that. But Blue Beetle was probably the first time where I actually went and said, "Holy crap, that felt awesome."
Yeah.
To watch.
So let me say one more thing before we get into the Blue Beetle.
That sounds dirtier than what you meant.
It's just I don't know. It's just it's a situation where if people, let's put it this way, if people weren't racist, if there wasn't racism, this wouldn't even be a topic, right? There wouldn't be a thing, regardless of what the agenda was at the time. There would never be a thing about representation being the driving force on why black people and minorities get more roles on TV and elected to more, right, blah blah blah. It wouldn't be an issue. So my thing is, if there are people out there that think that there is some kind of agenda being pushed, if you don't want the agenda being pushed, stop being bigoted and racist.
Round 3.
Right.
Agreed. I think
Stop being that way, and then the issue wouldn't have to be forced.
Yeah.
it's so, God, man, I wish this was a forgive the expression here. I wish it was a black white issue, but there's so many facets of gray that are littered throughout this, that those who you think would be smart individuals on this matter, or who would be more open-minded on this matter, you see them kind of back and forth. And then you see the ones who want to be 100% gun-ho, and then it's like, well, now wait a minute, though. You don't necessarily represent that group because of certain things, right? Like, I'm never going to speak on behalf of someone who's of the LGBT community. I'm not one. Why would I be a speaker on them? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. And I have seen that in the past, where you've seen people that have tried to come forward and say, whoa, we're right behind you and we're going to lead you. No, it's still the same problem. The group has to lead itself.
I disagree with that.
Well, so you can still advocate for them. I mean, you can still stand up and say that's not cool.
Well, I'll go ahead and put my official PSA out there. I don't agree that the group needs to. I don't agree that the oppressed needs to lead itself. There's a group of people that continuously hate, racism, homophobia, whatever you want to call it, and they lead the charge. They need to fix themselves. Period. Like, for example, and I'll just switch it to me as a black man in America. I'm not going to be the voice that changes the minds of a bunch of racist people. Like, my voice is not going to be the one that changes them. So it would have to be a voice from their community. So
can I say, though, that's, brother, I believe in you. I believe that you could do that. Why couldn't that individual stand up and say, you know what, I am going to be this voice. I'm going to be that. And I think that's part of the problem with there's difference between I can be the voice and there's two different things between I can be the voice. So I can go out there and do it, but how many of them are actually going to listen and change? But more than likely, not a lot. And I'm not saying I never do it. I'm just saying there has to be more people within their community that stand up and say, no, these people over here are actually okay. You need to chill out. I'm not kissing your ass in any way. And I don't, because we've had arguments before. But you're selling yourself short. Mm. I would believe that you could do that. I'm pretty sure you would believe that he could do that. That you can sit there and too many times do we hear that no one person makes a difference. One person can make a difference. Look I hate to say it the way I'm going to say it. Look at Russia and Ukraine. One person has sat there and said, I'm going to destroy this country. It made a lot of difference. You as an individual, though, absolutely, why not? And I think that's part of, I'll say it from my point of view and my perspective. Hispanics as a whole really are a very quiet minority, but they're not a minority. We're a majority.
Mhm.
We really are.
Number wise,
But we are quiet. We don't really, it's few and far between those who stick up. As I'm sitting here telling you that I think you could do that, I'm sure I could do that. Now, whether I want to or not, that is a different thing, right? But I've seen our people look and be like, well, we can't change anything. We'll just, not worry about it. And I've seen it too many times.
Well, but my voice, what I guess I see myself using my voice is going after the people that can have a voice in their own community, and then you make those changes. As opposed to me going, trying to change a racist mind, I'm going with the person with the open mind and saying, hey, go tell your people to chill out. So it's not right on the front line. It's more of a backseat type of thing. But that's what I use my voice for. So it's not 0 to 100. It's not like, oh, I can't change the racist, so I'm not doing anything. It's not that. But it's just like, I think there's steps, there's levels, and I'm just I'm not on the front line level. I'm on this level.
It's a matter of right and wrong. Like if something happens that's like just completely blatantly racist, to black people shouldn't have to all get together and fight for themselves. Like, I will happily be there with you if that's something that is egregious. You know what I mean? Like, everybody should call that out. This is not up to black people to stand up for themselves.
No. I'm not saying it's only up to them.
Or not just black people. I mean, I'm just using it as an example.
Just any group, any minority group that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You really would like to see that change happen there because, all right, let's take an example, right?
Ukraine?
We can go Ukraine again if you want to. But let's take that example of, well, you know what? Yeah, let's use Ukraine. Okay. What the hell? Here we go.
All right.
They didn't start by having the advocates come over there and help them, right? They said, we're standing up for ourselves. And if someone wants to come in and help us, please, by all means, do. And that's what happened. I'm not sitting there saying that you can't help representation of any group you want to help. That's fantastic. All I'm saying is that lead needs to come from within that group because that's the only way you actually get other like-minded people of your group to actually stand up and speak, to actually stand up and say something. All that to sit there and say.
But what you're saying, what it sounds like is it sounds too much like you're saying there's just one way to kind of address this, and we need to get all people on board to address it this one way. That's just what it's coming off as.
No, that's going back to my comment where I said I wish I could say that this is just a black and white issue, and I don't mean color. I mean, right or wrong, or cut and dry, right? It's multifaceted. This is just one of the ways that I wish that the individual groups would do that for themselves. You have minority groups that are much smaller, and again, I'm going to use Latinos, is much smaller than ours, but they speak way louder and they have more of a vocal voice. I am saying that we need to start doing that more. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, and I agree to some, because like if, let's just say, because I've seen videos of this, like somebody's at the grocery store and they're speaking Spanish, right? And somebody is like, speak English. We speak English in this country or whatever, right?
Were you following me that day?
No. I 100% would want, first of all, if I was standing there, I almost want to be standing there when somebody does that because I want to go off. But if whoever that person is talking to, the person who was speaking Spanish, who very well could be from this country, they're just speaking Spanish because maybe that's what they are comfortable speaking, right? Mm-hmm. They need to stand up for themselves too. Don't cower down to these racist people.
But that goes back to what Genesis was saying, and that goes back to what I was saying too. I know, but I'm saying I've been there when someone has said you need to speak Spanish. I've stepped in, but then I've also had that same person who I thought I was defending, right? Mm-hmm. Why are you causing a scene?
Oh,
I'm sticking up for you. Like, we got to stick up for each other. But why are you doing that? Let's just let it go.
Oh yeah.
So it is very good to have that emotion, and maybe that's where you're coming in from on your side, Genesis, by saying having someone of that like person who's closed-minded, have them speak to that group. And you're not wrong, but we also need to have that inner energy to sit there and say, no, I can stand up for my groups.
I mean, Hispanic people are much quieter. They don't want problems.
Very much.
They don't want to make waves. Just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably like a privileged part of me. I'm like, oh no.
Like
You need to get out.
I will never forget when my brother-in-law, he got to the house and he was laughing. I was like, what's going on? He goes, I got pulled over. I was like, oh, what happened? He goes, I was speeding. He goes, but this, punk cop was being a little bit of a jerk. And I was like, hey, and I don't need the ticket. Either give me the ticket or shut up. And I was like, you literally told him that? He was like, yes, and I was like, I'm glad you did. And he goes, what does that mean? I said, I would be in jail or dead if I told that to a cop who just pulled me over. Like, there is certain things. A friend of ours who I love is my brother, and I will defend him even when he's being stupid sometimes, right? And he will do the same for me when I'm being stupid. But he can never sit there and say, I know what it's like to be pulled over while brown.
Yeah.
He cannot. He has no basis of that because it's never happened.
Yeah.
So so that just to tie it back in. So this particular quote where Eminem says, "I don't know how I'd grow up and not have a chip on my shoulder."
Mm-hmm.
It kind of plays into that. Like you have, but you don't necessarily know how it is to grow up as a minority. So, I mean, the first part of his quote says, "I don't know." So I got to give, I guess, partial credit for that. But what he was implying is that I would be pissed off.
Yeah. And yet you're not.
But I'm not. But again, I can very clearly see why younger generation now is pissed off, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you wanting representation. Now I just don't like when they throw that on the older generation, like myself. I'm not that I'm old, but a previous generation, and say.
Did he say he was old? He said he was old.
I specifically said.
No, he said that afterwards.
Older
I said an older generation.
An older generation.
Than the
I'm
current.
not going to be here by myself, man.
Yeah, yes, you are. Y'all in the same. Y'all. Anyway, I don't like it when they just put that on us and just say, like, whatever they're saying. Like,
but to your point, I like how he said, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree again with the chip on your shoulder. But again, that's a personal preference of him.
Right.
That's his view.
Well, and that may be what Royce has told him. Maybe Royce feels it.
Yeah, Royce might feel that.
Because everybody's different. Not just because you two feel one way doesn't mean like all minorities feel that way.
Right.
Yeah. Did we almost do? We were starting to agree too much.
I know it's weird.
I need to
Something's
start
off.
arguing with you more. Let's go to the next one.
All right, let's do round 3.
Round 3.
I was out of balance.
This movie sucked. You said let's get into round 3. You said you wanted to argue.
Okay, here we go. And I'm going to go with exactly what you're saying. Did this movie have anything new? No. Did this movie present anything different from a superhero point of view? No. Did this movie speak to me and my kids and anyone who are like me speak to? 100% yes. Multiple reasons. First off, I love the fact that they didn't translate every single thing that was said in Spanish.
Yeah.
And there were certain things that we were rolling on, or we were like, oh my God, that's hard.
I was wondering, because like they would say some stuff and I'm like, where's the words?
No, and I loved that was for us.
Yeah.
It really was. Or at least if you knew Spanish, that was for you.
Yeah.
The representation that was in this movie really was the strongest I've ever had in a superhero film that played to ours, right? Now, I'm not going to take it personal from you because I also know how you felt about the first Black Panther. So I know this is your normal...
I'm just watching the movie.
Yeah, you're just watching the movie and you're talking about your score pad.
One thing, because I totally forgot in our pre-show meeting to talk about this. Sure. Let's try to do the first part of this spoiler-free.
Okay. So...
Okay.
Again, I'm not going to sit there and say this was the best superhero movie ever. It's not. Okay. This is an emotional response for me and my kids who went with me to see this because we understood everything that was going on, because we have come from that. So for us, it hit home. For us, we laughed. We were sad. Everything that you could think about. again, nothing new was presented in this movie that hasn't been presented 100 times over and everything that's come before. I am not naive to that. And if I look at it strictly from that point of view, still liked it better than The Flash.
No,
Right.
the Flash was way better than this movie. But and I don't even want to say that anything. I don't want to put the standard that something new has to be brought to the table for it to be a good movie. Like that's
Correct.
not necessarily a true statement. The fact that I think my hot take for this movie, and I think DC in general, Detective Comics, is that you have blueprints out there. You do take from other entities, and you put all the stuff together, and it's just some nasty bad movies. It's just it's ABC. It's Boys to Men, ABC, and Belle Biv DeVoe. It's just another bad creation by
Isn't that
Detective
most
Comics.
of Marvel, though, being standardized as well?
No. That is one Marvel thing that is happening. What DC has done is I'm gonna take the Iron Man eyes in the suit. I'm gonna take this part here. I'm gonna take this piece from here. I'm gonna take all the good parts of this genre and maybe other action movies or sci-fi movie, whatever. Right? I'm gonna take all the good parts of it and put it all in one. But for some reason, they can never make it work. So it's like, what are y'all doing?
I think
Like, what are y'all doing?
That's what I'm saying, though. So give me something that you didn't agree with. Or give me something that really bothered you when watching this.
Bothered me? I don't.
Or
We don't want to do spoilers. This first part.
No, don't do. You can do it without spoilers. I believe in you.
This movie was closer to the Fantastic Four, Jessica Alba's Fantastic Four, than it was anything MCU related. And that was just a horrible movie. Those Fantastic Four movies were just bad.
And here I am starting to actually love on those Fantastic Four movies. I will say this: when they first came out, I thought it was garbage, and I hated it.
Still garbage.
Caught it a couple of times, and I was like, this is starting to grow on me.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what this was. Is this was just a fun time for me? Again, for us, this was a fun time watching this flick and just enjoying it. I do agree. There are cheesy ass parts in this movie. There is, hands down.
So what's a better synonym or a bigger word for parts? Segments,
Certain scenes. But I didn't.
No, acts. Yes, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
I don't think so, though.
Corny acts. If there's 3 acts, then all 3 were corny.
I don't. I don't, man. And maybe it is playing too much into what I felt hadn't been there before for us. Maybe that is very much a thing that's playing hard into this movie. But I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. I loved every minute of the movie. And I recognized when I was like, well, that's really cheesy, but cool anyway. Like, that was how I represented my, again, to your point, when you're not hearing or you're not like, hey, is that what they said? And I'm going, nope, that's not what they said at all. Like, whether it was cuss words, whether it was moments that were left out where they're just talking in Spanish and you're hearing that, but everything for this being a first adventure movie, I can't stress enough, you're not coming into this movie to see something new. You're just not. It's a different take. I enjoyed it. I did. And I'm the first one to tell you, you can ask the other host of Vagabond Nerds. I was like, I'm not looking forward to this movie. This movie's going to be crap.
No.
I don't want to see it. I kept telling him. It wasn't until you said something that made me think, shit, I probably should go see it. And that was like, even if you hate it, you got to go see just for representation. I was like,
I move in the background.
I heard you. I listened to you.
I'm not on the front lines, but I move in the background.
And I even said that to one of my friends. I was like, no, damn it. Genesis made a comment the other day and he's not wrong. Cause I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going to see this the way it was intended, HBO Max. This is what this movie was made for. So all these people who are griping and bitching like, oh my God, this thing made horrible money. It made money that it wasn't supposed to make.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it only made 120 or 140 million. Doesn't matter. Wasn't supposed to be in the theaters.
Yeah.
So screw you. It made its thing. Yeah, I'm a little bit more passionate on this one than I think I have been in a while.
So
I don't know.
So as we move on, once we get into the spoiler section, I'll probably be able to answer your question a little bit better. What did you think, generally speaking, of the movie?
So, I liked. Well, okay. First of all, I was very out of it. I didn't even realize this was a DC movie. I thought this was some off-brand movie. because when we were
It was.
when we
It
were
was a Max movie.
when we were at the movies, I blinked and he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh."
Every time they
'Cause-
showed DC on the screen, I cheered.
No, he was like pointing, but I wasn't looking, so I legitimately did not know this is a DC movie. I thought this was some like other off-brand movie. Now,
It is.
okay, but I will say yes, it was cheesy, but I did like up until like the third act, as you say, this had third act problems
Every
to me.
single movie, I swear. Okay, I'll come back to it. Go ahead.
So, although yes, it was cheesy, I like did like it, and I liked the whole cultural piece of this, even though I can't really identify. I really appreciated it, and I love George Lopez, and so I liked seeing him. And then there was one part when
No spoils.
okay, I'll have to wait on that because I'll spoil it.
So yeah, George Lopez. Yeah, let's talk about George Lopez.
Wait, but let me finish. Let me just say this.
All right.
But in the end, overall, even though I liked it all the way up to the third act, I still when it was all said and done, I was just like, it was all right. You know what I mean? Like it was all right.
Yeah. Yeah. The acting. I felt like George Lopez didn't fit, and he was in the movie way more than I expected him to be in the movie.
I agree with that.
Way more.
I agree
And
with that.
I just think he didn't fit. There were certain scenes where it was like, okay, he pulled that off. But generally speaking, I was like, he stands out like a sore thumb, and this doesn't, it's not meshing.
Here's the problem with that comment, though, and I'm going to say this because this is where this comes into the culture aspect. Every single one of us has an uncle just like that. In fact, I have an uncle called Uncle Rudy.
So I'm not talking about his character. I'm talking about him and his acting.
No, but I'm telling you.
So I'm not talking about his character. I'm not talking about who he played and what he said specifically. I'm just saying he was for his level of acting. I don't think he's like a great actor. He had way too many lines to just be. I don't know what you want to call his acting, because you got late night host, you got comedian, stand up comedian, right, and then you got actor. And out of the three, the weakest one is his acting, and it just, he had way too many lines to be that level of actor. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, so go into spoilers.
He's ready.
I'm ready.
He's like, go.
I need to mark this down. 50. Okay.
All right,
I don't have no paper or nothing.
50.
50.
50. There we go.
Okay.
Go.
Go what?
You're telling me you said you couldn't spoil it without, or say it without
I'm
spoiling.
okay. So it's a particular part that happened in the movie, where Grandma is a badass. Grandma is somehow carrying a big ass minigun and killing everybody. I've seen that before in other types of movies where you got either an old lady or just someone who you wouldn't think would be able to pull this off and have. So that's something that they took and they put it in here, and it just, to me, it didn't work.
It rubbed me the wrong way as well.
It did not work.
I was ready for that. I was ready. And again, but it was just fun. It was stupid fun. I don't know. I maybe I am being biased on this.
You're 100%.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right.
But that's okay. I
But
mean,
it's
Bias
one of those
Ray.
things- It's like even to your point with George Lopez. I honestly, my mom and dad have not seen any superhero movie, with one exception, and that was Captain America: Winter Soldier, because they didn't realize it was a comic book movie. Right? They've never seen any of them. I want them to see this, because for them, this is going to be like, oh, and maybe even it's going to be like, I kind of get why you like this now. No, it's not everything that I'm going to be wishing for or wanting for. My parents have never sat there and said, I can't believe you have a dream of comic books, or, they never sat there and said, I don't want you to open a comic book store when we were in the midst of doing it. Like, they've always been supportive of that, which is fantastic, but they don't care for it, and so for this, I think it will get to them. For this, that old viejita, right? That grandma that's going over there, they're going to say, Yeah, I know someone like that. The Uncle Rudy part by George Lopez, even though we can call in to question his acting, they're going to be like, oh my God, that's just like they're going to pick up on that. So for me, it just felt, maybe this is how a lot of people felt with Black Panther. I don't know. Right?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
But for me, that's what this feels like.
Yeah. I think it might have been a little bit deeper with Black Panther because
100%.
it showed what could have been.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
right, you didn't just get snatched and brought over to a whole different country on big boats. Anyway, so
We're sorry about that. Speaking from the Spaniards.
apology not accepted.
Oh, well then screw it. Then I can't help you.
So it's from the trailers. So this is what got me. I expected the parts with George Lopez to be, that's about it. A little bit more.
Whatever
was in the trailer,
trailers.
that's what I was gonna get. And then I was like, we're gonna get more Blue Beetle. And it was the exact opposite. We got more of George Lopez and we got more of the family and less of Blue Beetle, to the point, because we're in the spoils.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, that was a whole part where he was captured and wasn't doing anything. Like, there was no Beetle. There was nothing, right?
But it was more family than Don Toretto sitting there going, my family, it's all about my family. Like, show me, don't tell me every 5 seconds.
So the other main problem I had with this movie is, and I picked up on it early on. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, the family is going to help save the day.
Oh no! Again, this is not
somehow, some way, and I'm like,
this isn't rocket science.
And I said this is the most ridiculous thing that I'm ever seeing.
The script is not rocket science. If you don't know what's going to happen by the end of the first act, then you're asleep in the movie.
But it's not them just simply helping save the day. It is how. Like, Grandma should not have been able to pick up that minigun. You see what I'm saying? It's almost as if these people had superhuman powers themselves. Like, it got to that level where it's just kind of like, now this is kind of ridiculous. I think it was might have been when George Lopez was driving the truck and he was like, first off, him putting together this thing that can take over some high power company is ridiculous in itself, right?
Okay, well, I'm going to stop you right there because, sorry, I know people who are not educated in the sense of going to college, going to school, but pull off stupid shit like that all the time.
It's just not believable for me.
It cannot be believable, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
It's not the norm. Let's put it that way then. Since you want to say you know a person or two that can go take down Microsoft, okay.
I know a person or two that have hacked stuff they shouldn't have hacked.
That's
and
great.
High
but this is not normal. This is kind of ridiculous. But the superhero part that comes in is like, when it was on the back of the truck and he needed to, Blue Beetle was about to get killed by what's the villain's name? Don't even know the villain's name.
Starts with a C.
Don't even know the villain's name because the movie was so bad.
I think it was Carmax.
Carmax was what we're gonna call him, the Red Carmax, the Red Beetle. How about we call him that?
Which actually isn't far off.
So he just started driving, and he said, "Wait, hit that brake when I tell you." And he hit it perfectly, and it went flying off the truck, and it hit the guy. And I'm like, "That's some Hawkeye shit." Not Hawkeye specifically, but not superhuman. But it's like that is something that a normal human probably would not be able to pull off.
If people can believe Tyrese and Ludacris went to space in a Honda,
I don't believe that. That's why I stopped watching those movies.
Fair enough.
Again, and to go back to my original beefs with DC, I've told you this before. I want them to stop making bad movies because I don't want people to start to not watch them anymore. I want people to watch them. You can't keep putting out trash though. People will start falling off the wagon. Stop it.
But people are already falling off the wagon, and it's not just DC. We're seeing it with Marvel. We're seeing it. We're seeing it across the board.
No, just no.
No.
So you
no.
Okay. So what was your? I don't think we ever did this in this group. Did you see Doctor Strange, the second one, the multiverse? And what did you think of that?
It's not great.
Is it starting to just like? That's what I'm saying. It's not DC alone.
No. But it's not. It wasn't like a bad movie. This was a bad movie. This was trash. This was not. This is on no level was this a good movie.
I will never say this movie's trash. Just exactly how you felt about getting that.
You're too close to it.
Maybe
that's what you said. You're too close to it.
But
this is a trash movie.
But I also said though, this is nothing new. I said. But you're going to be able to pick this up.
But you're saying that
it's not Expendables 4.
You're saying that as if, like I said, you have to put something new in it for it to be good.
No,
but so it doesn't matter if it's it doesn't matter if it's new or not. I'm not the one sitting here saying that Marvel MCU movies are bad because they keep giving you the same thing.
No,
I've never said that.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
I've heard it on your show.
You're already seeing a trend of it going down. Very early on when Marvel started, and we were. I mean, gosh,
in the 60s.
I don't know. No, the MCU, jackass.
Oh, MCU. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When it started, the one thing I said is Kevin Feige is going to do really good unless he starts getting into that 90s Marvel where they just made quantity over quality. I said, if they start dipping into that 90s feel, that's when it's going to be problematic. And I said, and I hope they don't. And through Endgame, actually, I'll go further and say through Spider-Man 2. Okay, Far From Home. I thought they were hitting on all cylinders.
So how can you even find the breath to say something possibly negative about MCU when DC keeps putting out trash movies?
Because
there never was like a height like, oh yeah, you found the magic formula, just don't overdo it. You never found that in DC. The movies are trash and they keep putting out more trash.
They're not, but again,
they're piling trash on top of trash.
But it's subject to your opinion though, because I'm not going to sit there. First off, I'm not going to sit there and say every DC movie that they did, this new DC, the DCEU, before we move to the DCU proper. Any movie that put out, I'm not sitting there saying they were all good. We've all watched Wonder Woman 84. We know they are not all good.
I watched it 3 times and we kept falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is how I felt about Hellboy 2. Jason, that one's for you.
Shout out.
But I'm not going to sit there and say they're all bad. Just like with Marvel, I'm not going to sit there and say they were all perfect. I mean, what is Doctor Strange if not the retelling of Iron Man 1? Right?
Yeah, but I mean, there's still extremes. It's trash and perfect. There are things in between. There are way more really really good Marvel movies than there are.
But there are more Marvel movies. I mean, you're do the percentages. Don't do the actual movies against movies.
Whatever.
They don't have that many.
Well, whatever. But most of them, I think most of them are bad though. In DC, that's what I'm saying. Like they're not quality. They don't live up to. They don't even come close to the standards of MCU and the quality that they're putting out. So it's just like
I don't agree with every movie on that. On both sides, by the way. On both
I didn't
sides.
say every movie.
Yeah,
I didn't say every movie. That's what I'm saying. There's not these extremes of every movie or none of the movies. Nah. I'm just saying there's a lot. The bulk of the DC movies are not good. The bulk of the MCU movies are good. And the fact that there are more of them tells you that one company is putting out a way better product.
But it could be argued it's the same product. And I think that's...
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still good. It doesn't matter. It's still good. Yeah. Like, do you want... Do you, every time you go to the store and you get Oreos, do you want them to be slightly different every time?
I don't like Oreos.
Whatever. Chips Ahoy. Yeah. Who cares? You get the point.
Just kidding. I
Pick
do
a
like
snack.
Oreos. Pick a snack.
Pick a snack. Huh?
No, actually, Swiss rolls. Swiss rolls are really good.
Do you want them to be slightly different every time?
But they are slightly different every time.
No,
sometimes
they taste the same every time.
Sometimes that date is older and you don't realize it when you're picking up the package, and it's like that's a little still. That's like Phase 5 of Marvel or something. Like I've had this before.
So, what about now? We can get into spoilers.
Okay.
What do you have that could
Well, I'm just
that you
trying
can get deeper in. Now that we can get
I
some
think
spoilers.
I'm just kind of, as per usual, kind of in the middle of you two. Okay, because it is refreshing to see you light up when you talk about this movie and how happy it made you. And I totally appreciate that. You are a little too close to it emotionally.
I am. I'm telling you, I am.
But I'm glad that it made you so happy.
That's
great. You know what I mean? He's over here calling everything trash. I'm kind of in the middle. Okay, the movie was like, it was okay.
Okay. Compared to what? How was this movie compared to Infinity War?
Oh, don't do that.
Why can't I do that?
You can't do that.
How? Why can't I?
You can't. First off, Infinity War or Endgame is the culmination of 10 years.
Okay,
it's a superhero movie.
Flash. That's the last one we saw, right?
Well, I don't want.
Whatever.
No. What I'm saying is when we say something is good or something is bad or something is great compared to what? What is the barometer? Is Flash the barometer? Because that's grading on a curve for this movie.
Okay, we do it against any comic book movie. I
just did. I said Infinity War.
Go.
I said Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Well, I don't know. Just general, like, I think the thing is, like, I have a general idea of, I have an idea of generally what to expect when I go in and see a superhero movie, regardless of whether it's Marvel or DC.
I think everyone does now.
Right? I mean, you have an idea of what to expect there.
You know the hero probably won't die. You know.
Well, I just mean as far as, like, quality,
Yeah.
type of story, villains, like, you have an idea.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have high expectations of this because I didn't really like the
Trailer.
trailer.
Trailer
right?
didn't impress me.
So it came off as, to me, it was not bad, but it came off as, like I said already, like, I didn't even know this was, I thought this was some other random studio that put this out. I did never realize it was.
I feel like that's even worse. That I feel like that proves more my point than anything else. She didn't even know that this was a movie put out by a major studio on a major.
So I'm gonna do something really, really odd. You ready? Go ahead and finish.
Okay. I legitimately didn't know that. So I thought it was funny. There was a lot of funny parts, like when they're all in the kitchen and he starts, like, becoming Blue Beetle and everybody screams at the top of their lungs. Yeah. I busted out laughing.
And again, I'm sitting there looking at that, and I've been in scenarios where and that's the thing, 100%. It's playing to everything I've grown up with.
Yeah.
Have a heart. Again, I'm not sitting there saying this script is the best thing ever. I am not. I'm not saying that the third act didn't have some issues.
Yeah.
It did. But
the whole movie had issues. So
but anyway, yes, it was cheesy. It wasn't.
I think cheesy is being nice.
Okay. Generally speaking, like,
your trash can there, Oscar.
Just saying.
Generally speaking, like, it wasn't the best acting or the best story. There were a lot of parts I appreciated about it. I did appreciate the family and the cultural aspect, like I already said. But yeah, once it got, and I loved the grandma. Oh my God, I loved her so much. But once we got to the third act, I was like, this is awful. This is just turned bad. When is this going to be over? It just got really bad.
Yeah, I think I looked at my watch at least four times. And that one particular time I looked at my watch and I did the quick math because, start time and then trailers, right? And I'm like, we still have a whole nother fucking hour of this.
Never.
And I was like, what the hell?
Never looked
What's
at it
weird
once.
is I didn't look at once. And normally I do. So I was kind of confused. I was like, this is weird. Like, I guess I liked most of it, but I really didn't like the end. But I never looked at my watch. So overall, I'm like, it was all right.
There's only been like 3 movies I ever, and I'm going to say this and I know I'm going to get some hate, especially from the chat if we do get comments like this. There's only been a couple of movies that I loved, and the ending was so stupid to me that it ruined the entire movie. Number 1 on that list is freaking Interstellar. Hated how that movie ended, and for that, this great, fantastic movie, I don't want to watch it again because I thought it was shit.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not there with this. It had third act problems.
Yeah.
It seems like every superhero movie, with the exception of a handful, has an issue trying to wrap up that third act. And I don't know what it is. Even in a movie where I can sit there and say that most of it was golden, whether it's killed by CGI, whether it's killed by bad writing, whether it's, having trouble figuring out how to wrap it up. I've spent like the last 2 to 3 weeks detoxing from comic book movies and just watching dramas, comedies, action movies, and thrillers.
Yeah.
Because I've had to detox, right? That's one of the things that we talk about on our show is the fact that we are starting to get a little burned out on it. So when people go, well, there's no such thing as a comic book movie burnout. Yes, there is.
No,
there absolutely is.
There's not, because there's not enough of the content coming out. It's not like there's one coming out. We had this conversation before. Yeah. We need to stick to the Blue Beetle because you're deflecting from the bad. Let's talk.
I'm telling you that I don't see it as bad. I'm not.
Let's talk about more. I would have probably liked this movie better if they didn't just put in the force. You want to talk about some stuff that was forced. All of it's just this family, wholesome, fun movie, and all of a sudden people just started cussing just for no reason.
No,
it's almost as if You wrote a PG movie and threw cuss words in there to make it
It
PG-13.
goes on at my fucking house. And then I just dropped one right there. Sorry.
No. Again, get out your feelings.
It's
Get out what happens
That-
at your house.
But that is how
The
to
movie,
me,
the whole first X amount of minutes in the movie, there was nothing. It was all birds chirping and soft music
but
and
the whole
family
thing about they're not,
and a family
but you
themed
sitting there
movie.
saying that they're not cussing,
and then
that's not true either because they were cussing in Spanish. They just never translated that.
no, bro, no,
Yes, they
that's
did.
no.
How do you?
No.
So you speak Spanish now?
I think I recognize the Spanish cuss word when I hear
Okay,
one.
fair enough.
Okay,
Fair enough.
So I do live in Texas, bro. Like, jeez.
Bruh.
But
Don't say where we're at, man. I'm hiding.
the cuss words that they were particularly using, how and in reference to how the rest of the tone of the rest of the movie, it didn't match.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
It felt forced, and I was just like, what are y'all doing?
Like, what part are you talking about? I'm
Like
confused.
right in the beginning, I had to take a massive shit, bro.
Oh,
Like all of a sudden, here she
Yeah.
is. I'm
sorry, but I know people who do that.
It doesn't matter
It
if
does
you know
matter.
people.
It does matter because the whole
You-
point is it's
if-
trying
if-
to get
if
you to relate to the movie. That's how I
if you're
related.
writing a PG movie,
But it was not a
No,
PG
people-
movie.
it clearly was.
It clearly wasn't.
What movie were you watching?
Blue Beetle.
oh, okay. You're saying it's rated PG-13, but the general
Tone and feel and vibe of the whole movie,
It's not
and
the first movie to do that.
and 90%. I don't care if it's the first movie to do that.
Won't be the last.
It was bad. Those parts were forced, and it sounded stupid, and it looked stupid because it didn't match the rest of the movie. I would have rather them just did the Fantastic Four, slap a PG rating on it, and make it a whole family friendly event.
Actually, Fantastic Four wasn't PG. Both movies were PG-13.
No, one of them was PG for sure.
I'm gonna go to
Well,
the Google. while you're
I
doing
will
that.
say, I didn't know. I mean, now that you point that out, yeah, I thought that was kind of weird, but
Weirdly played, and one where the one guy that helped him got killed, and all of a sudden there was blood everywhere, and it's like there hadn't been blood everywhere this whole movie, and now you want to put that blood in there, which is probably going to up it to a PG-13 rating. Just make it a PG movie.
It definitely had. I will say, I did say when we were leaving.
PG-13 Fantastic Four 2005.
How many Fantastic Fours were created?
3. 2 of them were.
No, I'm not asking you to break down Fantastic Four. I'm saying you looked up one movie.
Yeah, but they
what
were
was the
both-
other one rated?
Both were PG-13.
Oh, okay, but you only verified one.
Keep going. I'll verify the second one here just for his
Oh,
sake.
I was just saying that I did get the feel that because we didn't really talk about it, but I did get the feel when the movie was over. I was like, that felt like a Disney movie, and I don't mean like a Marvel Disney movie.
Right.
It did feel very wholesome.
Yep.
Again, you not that you're arguing that point. I know he is, but you're pointing out something that I kind of liked about it.
Yeah.
Right. Like that to me, especially when my kids are beside me. I kind of like that, right? Now, it doesn't happen every time. Do not get me wrong. There are certain movies I watch with my kids, and I'm like, okay, I wish this was already over. You know, there's certain things they like where I'm gonna watch it because they're my kids, and I will enjoy it with them.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I'm like, I don't want to get that. Perfect example, and I don't know if you've watched it yet. I can't wait to review TMNT, Mutant Mayhem.
That's not a movie I would ever watch.
Yeah,
But
I'll tell you right now, enjoyed everything. Damn it!
what?
Shut up.
What? No, say it. Say it into the microphone.
It was PG.
Rise of the Silver Surfer surprisingly
Was-
was PG,
Rated PG.
but not the first one. And you didn't say part 2.
Whatever, man.
He said one of them.
One of them, man. You should have just slapped a PG rating on it and made it a PG movie. Take these forced cuss words out of it. Take that forced blood scene out of it. Now, here's the part that took me completely out of the movie because I'm trying to keep talking about the movie. You keep talking about other stuff. Let's talk about when Dad died.
Shoot.
It took me completely out of the movie
Why?
because it's one thing. So I get the whole thing of we can cry later. I understand the concept of it, but it's one thing for you to cry later, and it's another thing for the very next scene of y'all laughing and joking inside of a spaceship.
Can I do this again?
Very weird.
Can I do
Ray's gonna say, I
Yeah.
know people
I
who
know
do that.
people who do
I
that.
didn't know people who did that. I did that. When
You were in a spaceship?
we were in a spaceship. When my best friend's mom passed away, the first thing when I got into that house, we busted out laughing because we said something that we said we were not going to say, and we said it. because it was so cliched of when everyone sits there and we were laughing about
So
it.
no disrespect to your best friend and y'all's relationship. That's probably different than if your father passed away.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
No, because that's who I am. And maybe that's part of the issue, right? Maybe I see a lot of these movies through how I want to see myself through them. And so maybe that's the difference. We've talked about it before. Your grading system is very much predicated on the fact that am I going to recommend this because I had a job where I'm going to recommend something that had to be this, right? I didn't have that growing up. What I had was the feels and am I going to enjoy myself? Or is I going to take it out? And I will give a great example. Expendables 4. I love that series.
Why do we keep talking about different movies?
Because I'm trying to get you to the point where you understand why I'm liking this one, and you're telling me why you don't like it.
No, I already know why you like it, and you keep defending it by bringing up all this and deflecting. I'm trying to tell you why it's bad, and every time I do, you just keep deflecting. That particular part of it just took me out of completely took me out of the movie. I was like, I was so done with the movie at that point. I was like, this is beyond this whole thing, and then. Not only that, but the fact that again somehow they just know how to fly the ship that was created. That was created.
I agree with you on that.
How many years? I don't really know. 20, 30 years.
How's the daughter? She was 20.
Early 20s.
Early 20s. So let's say 20. Let's say 25 years.
Okay, so all of a sudden, y'all know how to just randomly fly this ship. Y'all know how to use these computers that are just dusty and hadn't been turned on and. Nobody's been here since I was 8, but now all the power works and everything still works.
I go back to
the movie was ridiculous.
I go back to the grandma with the submachine gun or whatever the hell.
The minigun.
Yeah, that one I chuckled at. I was like, okay, right? Like again,
ridiculous.
Third act problems, right? But it's not. It's this particular movie is not going to take me out of my feels. I'm going to be
that's fine. We get it. We get it. You have your feels, but can you take 2 minutes of this podcast and just be blatantly objective about the movie?
I told you it's not going to win. It's not.
It
doesn't have a script.
Can you be objective? I guess is the question because I don't think you can.
I think
the way this pod is going is like nah.
The thing with this movie, and you know that we can get into some objective conversations. I don't think I can do it with this one.
That's my point.
I'm being honest though.
Right. Good. That's all I'm trying to get to.
So for me though, if someone goes, "Do you recommend this movie?" It's an automatic hell yes for me. That's for me though.
You recommend this to the average Joe on the street?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Do you recommend this to the average Joe on the street?
No.
I'm also not recommending this to the average Joe on the street. Will I recommend it to, not to sound some kind of way, but a Hispanic person? I recommended it to a Hispanic person before I even saw it. Right.
No, you just said I need to be there. You weren't recommending the movie. You're like, dude, you're not going to go represent.
Right, but I'm going to recommend the movie.
That's not the same.
Listen, I'm recommending the movie to people based on that basis to go represent. Go get the dollars up for this movie so they can keep making other movies with a bunch of brown people in it. Yes, I will recommend it for that sake, but as just a movie, no. Like if you just say, hey, I want to go watch a good movie, anything out? No. I got nothing for you.
We know how I feel about this movie. I'm gonna go into one other movie, and I keep saying this.
Oh, Lord.
Are you an Expendables fan?
No.
Okay, I can just tell you right now, that's a movie I would not recommend as part 4.
I don't think I would recommend any of them. I think I saw the first 2. They're not.
Yeah. I'm gonna, and I say that because I've recommended, and I'm going to tell you, I'm telling you right now, because I've, again, I feel a certain way about a movie. I have absolutely recommended shit movies, but I've always referenced it with did I like it? Well, 100% I liked it. Will you like it? You're going to have to watch it. Probably not. That's how I've gotten away with recommendation.
That's weak sauce.
It's not, it's the truth. Just because I like something doesn't mean you're going to like something. It is a truth.
It might not be the truth.
It's facets of gray.
Yeah, no. What's your score up top of the dome?
Can't tell me that.
Huh?
Can't ask me that because I'm gonna score high.
Score whatever you want to score. People want to know.
No, it's not a 10. It's a 9. Again, I still rubbed up against it, but everything else in there, it was a 9 for me.
What you got?
I was gonna say like 7.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a strong 6. 6, and that's being nice.
That's how I felt about The Flash.
The 6 is being generous. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit lower than that. Probably that 5.8, 5.9.
What I said with The Flash, right?
We're
Yeah.
not talking about the Flash, man. We already did that. Been there, done that. If it comes down to two different movies, because for some reason this keeps coming up because they just came out recently. If you want to watch the Flash or the Blue Beetle, watch the Flash. Do not watch
Blue Beetle.
Do not watch Blue
Flash.
Beetle.
Can't stand the Flash.
Do not watch Blue Beetle.
So much lost potential in the Flash.
Y'all are so funny.
Any last thoughts? Because I feel like I didn't get to go in on this movie like I wanted to.
All my brown people go see this movie.
Sure, yeah.
No, I
For
will.
sure.
I will say from a and I already said it, but like from an emotional perspective, it really is like nice to see how happy you are.
Everything, because most of the stuff, minus the old lady with the Gatling gun there,
Yeah.
minus that, this is how I grew up.
Yeah.
This was watching.
You didn't grow up with uncles.
You can't, but you don't know.
I do know.
No,
I
you
do
don't.
know you don't have an uncle who can fly spaceships, bruh.
That wasn't a spaceship. That was a built ship.
Bruh.
I know you don't have an uncle who can fly a big Beetle spaceship that
Wait,
farts.
just leave
that
him alone
farts.
about this.
Okay.
That farts.
That's the one.
Fart attack.
I will tell you that as a spoiler. When that did it,
Stupid ass movie.
I saw my son just crack up laughing, and I looked at my daughter, and she was like, and I was like, I know, but I'm still enjoying this stupid. Like, it's stupid, but I'm enjoying it. So
Do we know? I mean, I know there was some end credit stuff. Is this the first movie of the new DCU?
So here's what they've said. They said that this one is not the first movie. That is still going to be Creature Commandos, which is an animated one that's coming out in theaters,
Okay.
with Superman being the first actual movie, Superman Legacy.
So do you think, because clearly there's going to be, clearly there's supposed to be a second one.
All they've confirmed is that he's coming back as Blue Beetle. They
Okay.
will keep him. They said that James Gunn made the comment that he was like, nope, because I think he's perfect for the role.
So
he's staying.
So at this point though, why would they keep that end credit scene in there?
You know,
What was the
Okay,
purpose?
so can
Can we talk about the actual movie? Sure.
Yeah, let's talk about this
Sure.
real quick. Shut up.
Hour and 30 minutes into it. Sure. Let's talk about Blue Beetle.
I do appreciate all the comic nods that came before, including the Ted Kord stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I do appreciate that they acknowledge the fact that he's not the first Blue Beetle, that he is a secondary of what
He's
Ted
the
Kord,
real Blue Beetle. Let's put it
of
that way.
what Ted Kord was trying to find
He
that
was
he did
a
find.
fake man.
Yeah. So Ted Kord being in there, the way that they did that end credit scene could lead very much into a Ted Kord. Oh my gosh, I just forgot the freaking time traveler that he's always with. Holy shit, I actually forgot it. Anyway, it's giving that impression that that's where they're going, that he's actually stuck in time somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that. Someone made the comment, like, throw Nathan, Fillion at that. And yeah, that would make sense for a Ted Kord. But I'm also getting tired of seeing Nathan Fillion and everything that James Gunn does. And I know he's coming back too. And he's already got, I think he's Guy Gardner. He's going to be the Green Lantern. One of them anyway. So I did appreciate all the little nods as a comic book fan to everything that was before. Oh, well, they took him out of El Paso, but he lived on El Paso Avenue. Oh, they didn't reference Ted Kord. No, they referenced all of Ted Kord and his prior adventures. Like, there's little stuff for comic book fans in there, little nods. I appreciated the fact that they acknowledged.
Yeah.
So
Translation question.
Mhm.
So, his mom always called him Flaquito. I was like, little skinny boy. Is
pretty
that
much.
what that
I mean, a
translates to?
loose translation, but yeah.
Yeah. Because I noticed at the very last scene when he kisses the girl,
Mhm.
I was like, he
Oh,
don't look
don't-
skinny anymore.
Don't remind me.
He looks like he's all grown now.
the one force scene. Oh, it was so cringy. The first time they were supposed to kiss, it was so horrible.
Okay.
That was so bad. It was just like,
Okay,
what is
I'm
happening
sorry.
here?
Just opened up a can of worms.
Jeez,
Thanks.
just cut. You didn't need that. Just cut that out. That was just terrible.
It was building something.
They did a bad job building that. That house gonna
Okay.
fall down.
All right.
They didn't. They're fine. Go watch this movie. Go see this movie.
Brown folks, yes, unite. Let's go. Yeah, watch the movie.
I will buy this on. I am already getting this on Steelbook, whatever.
Yeah, no. Anybody looking for just a good movie? Don't watch this.
Watch this movie.
You looking for a good time? Don't watch,
Watch this movie.
Oh my God.
Y'all ready to wrap up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Long ass podcast.
That's it.
Second one in a row, by the way.
Jesus.
That's it for today, guys. Thanks for listening to ANX Gamecast. If you enjoy the show, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we release new episodes.
That voice is going.
See you next week.
Blue Beetle out.